Care of the Aging Adult. Martha Olson, Iowa Lakes Community College. This is part 2 for Unit 1. Successful aging is different for all people. It's a characteristic or predictor to old age. We can identify those. We know poor health late in life is not inevitable, and there are risk factors that we can modify, things like smoking and alcohol. The theories of aging are objective number 11 when we look at the theoretical framework that helps assist nurses to make decisions related to gerontology. Potter and Perry talks about the psychosocial theories, biological theories, and the nursing theories. So let's look at each one as how they relate to aging. Psychosocial is things like personality and ego, some of the challenges associated with various stages of life, how a person would deal with those. The issues are related to emotional relationships, a person's attitude, that I'm not going to age, or I'm going to fight aging all the way. A person's motivation and personality. Some of the theories that go with this are the disengagement and the active theory, staying young, staying active to stay young. Biological is more of the genetics, that my grandfather lived to be 80, and so genetically I'm programmed to be about 80. It's our chromosomes and heredity. There are factors that relate to this, because there are some people that are very blessed to have good genes and they do live long. There is a really neat way to kind of calculate that. It's called Living to 100. It's a life expectancy calculator. And what you do is you go in there and you put all the things about yourself in there, and it kind of gives you an idea of how long you should live. Things like smoking and exercise, your diet, even if you floss, because when you floss, you have fewer infections in the body. And so go ahead and do that. It's kind of fun. I used to do it as an assignment and have students do it with an elderly relative or neighbor and kind of compare the results. Healthy living. It's more important to prevent chronic diseases, and that's really where the focus of healthcare is going in the future, because it's very expensive and it's very negative to have chronic health diseases in the older adult. What can we do to prevent those? Exercise, healthy eating, fruits and vegetables, getting enough sleep, relaxation, all of those things that help promote good living and longevity. As we look at our nursing resources, there are a lot of things that we can do to promote health, immunizations, teaching about obesity, promoting exercise, so that we are spending our time keeping people young instead of caring for the sick that have chronic health disorders. Whenever we have nursing diagnosis, we always want to look at them and put them in order as to priority, because a lot of your questions on state boards will be related to priority. Impaired gas exchange, that goes along with things like COPD and congestive heart failure. Your risk for aspiration, we oftentimes think of that with your older person or person that's had a stroke, and swallowing, they aspirate, and so we either thicken liquids or we have to bypass the swallowing and maybe feed them through like a peg tube. Deficient fluid volume. That might be somebody that's on diuretics and we're pulling the fluid off because they have congestive heart failure, but it also might be somebody that maybe has some incontinency, and so they don't drink very many fluids so that they aren't incontinent. There's a variety of reasons why a person might have fluid volume deficiency. It could also be somebody with Alzheimer's that just doesn't remember to drink or think to drink. Disturbed thought process, we will be discussing the differences and similarities between dementia, delirium, and depression. And so we'll think about those in relationship to disturbed thought processes, especially your Alzheimer's and your dementia patient. Constipation, normal changes in the body and the bowel health can lead to constipation. Polypharmacy can lead to constipation. Lack of activity and exercise can lead to constipation. Hypothermia. Older people that maybe live in their own home and they don't have money to keep it warm. They've lost a lot of their subcutaneous fat, and so we do see times with hypothermia. They also have poor circulation, so extremities can get frostbite very easily in some situations. Risk for infection because of the immune system, how that changes with aging. the impaired skin because the epidermis and the subcutaneous diminish the elasticity to the skin, diminishes with aging. We also see risk for impaired skin integrity if they're immobilized or they're not getting up and walking, and so we have to turn and think of the Braden scale and do all of those things to prevent injury to the skin or skin breakdown. Disturbed sleep pattern. Many of your older patients will tell you they don't sleep well at night. They may sleep in the chair in the living room sitting up because they breathe easier. Maybe they cat nap throughout the day and they don't sleep well at night. And so we see a variety of reasons why you might see sleep pattern disturbance. It might be your patient with Alzheimer's that has that sundown syndrome where they wander in through the early evening hours and have a hard time getting settled down to sleep at night. Hopelessness and powerlessness. Hopelessness is, that feeling that, what do I do? I have arthritis, I have pain all the time, I live alone, my children live far away, and my spouse has died. And powerlessness is feeling like you don't have any say in what goes on. My children put me in the nursing home, or I don't have any money, so I, can't buy my pills. So there's a lot of nursing diagnoses that go with the elderly and with the content we're talking about right now. So as we wrap up this first unit, when we just kind of begin to look at the process of who's caring for the elderly, where are they living, and some of the factors that go along with that, our references are a couple of the books on your book list for this semester. This ends Unit 1.